Hello, and welcome back to I'll Watch What They're Watching, where we're curious and adamant about cinema. My name is Kiri. I'm one of your hosts.
And I'm Adam.
And today we are doing a top five of sorts. We're doing our top five creature features.
Yes, this will be a fun one, right in time for Halloween and spooky season. So it's a good topic, and I think we'll have a lot of fun talking about our little creatures.
Yeah, and you and I know we kind of took like a little bit of a different take on it, because I took this to me and I was like, oh, okay, creature features, monster films. You took a slightly different approach, didn't you?
In some ways, I mean, I think I took the literal, right? When you talk about creature feature, it's this distinct type of movie or TV series, especially back in the, you know, 50s, 60s, where it was these
Right.
really big kind of think of your Godzillas, your King Kongs, which, are even earlier than the 50s, 60s, your
Yeah.
Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, just those kind of big monsters coming in, being these feature. You kind of throw in the universal creatures and monsters as well in there as well. And I think I was just kind of taking a little more literal creature feature as far as this is
Okay.
a movie that features a creature and kind of the uncertainty around that.
Yeah.
Creature can be loosely defined and broad. I know we were getting real hung up on the semantics of that, but
Right. Yeah, because we'd kind of been texting back and forth, and I was like, well, creature feature, it's a monster film. And you were like, well, but is it? And I remember we went back and forth, and you finally were just like, look, this movie is probably on my list. I want it to be on my list. So this
yeah.
is the approach I'm taking, which is fine. We have slightly different criteria. So
And I'm excited to hear your list. This is one of the few episodes we haven't heard our list in advance, but I do think that
yes.
a lot of my films are very related and very similar. And I think
Okay.
that's one of the things that makes these categories of movies really fun is that usually it is fairly same formula and can be predictable, but I think that there's cool things you can do, and I think that's why people love them so much is just some of the unique spins or even just re-seeing something that is giant creature eating people is just kind of fun to watch sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and as we kind of get into my list, like my number five is not actually a movie that I love, but I think the monsters in it are really cool. Like the design is amazing. My ranking is not which movie do I like better. It's because I think I actually I think my number two and my number three I even like better than my number one. But I think the
Okay.
creature in number one just did so much for the genre and for cinema that I gave it an edge, if that makes sense.
Cool. No, yeah, that's great. My list is just vibes of how I was feeling this week. I rewatched a few of them, so if you were peeping my letterbox, you may have some spoilers, but yeah, I
Okay.
was just having a good time, just whatever was coming to my mind.
And I will say this, there were a lot that I wanted to watch. I own Godzilla, like the original one. I have never seen it. I really wanted to try to get to that this week, and I just didn't. And then I was also telling Adam, fortunately I bonused at work, and I told myself I could splurge on one movie thing, and then I had to be responsible with the rest of it. But I did get this like Universal Monsters essential kit. It's this beautiful, you can see it right behind me. You can't see if you're listening, but right behind me, it's this really, really cool, like, book that has all these things about, like, kind of the 8 essential Universal monsters. So it's like Frankenstein, Dracula, Bride of Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera, Wolfman, Invisible Man, Mummy, all that jazz. Same thing. Was hoping it would get here before today so that I could crank out a few more. I've seen some, but I really wanted to crank out a few more of those because I think, so this is a spoiler, I think had I seen it, Bride of Frankenstein would be on my list, but
Mm.
I wanted to see it before making that call, and I was hoping it would get here Friday or yesterday so that I would have time to watch it.
Yeah, and kind of fun. We have some new ones coming out in the next few months. We have a new Frankenstein from Guillermo
Yes.
del Toro coming out next month. And then we have Maggie Gyllenhaal's Bride of Frankenstein that comes out next March, I want to say.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know how I feel
so
about that movie.
yeah, well, it hasn't come out yet, so who knows?
I know, but I saw some trailers and I was not I was not feeling the vibe, but
Yeah, I
we'll
know,
see. But
and
I
I know there's
mean,
been lots of trailers for the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein too. I've
yeah,
tried to avoid those as much as possible.
I've seen one and I was like, I'm all in. I'm in. I don't care. This seems great. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. Should be fun.
Yeah. But I mean, are you happy to dive right in?
Let's do it.
So we said we kind of, because we haven't seen each other's notes, we haven't seen each other's lists, and previously we have. So we kind of we want to try to guess the other's pick. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically just we'll give a quick high-level description of the creature or monster featured in each of our picks. Other person
Sweet.
can then ask a couple follow-up questions, see if they can guess it. So, if you're listening to this, why don't you play along?
All right. Let's kick it off then. Go ahead, Adam. Give me some clues.
All right. So for this one, you're thinking big, you're thinking tall, very
Okay.
gray, yellow eyes, big feature. Um, Kind of just like a open mouth. And that's pretty much as descriptive as I can get.
Does it have limbs? Like, is it a
Yes.
worm-like thing, or does it have like hands and feet?
No, it's humanoid.
Oh, it's humanoid. Big humanoid, gray, yellow eyes. Like, this feels like I should know it. Like, it feels familiar, but I am just. Okay, let me ask one more. Did it come out between 1950 and 2000?
Yes. Barely. I'll give you another one.
Okay.
Mechanical.
Oh, is this Pacific Rim?
No, it is not.
Dang it, mechanical. Terminator?
No. And
The
I'll give
Terminator's
you
red
one more
eyes.
hint.
Okay.
Animated.
Oh, the Iron Giant.
Yes, correct. The Iron
Okay.
Giant.
I love this movie.
1999, Brad Bird. This was a movie that we would watch pretty often growing up. If
Mm-hmm.
anyone that doesn't know, Iron Giant, set in the Cold War. Basically, there's a crash landing of some sort, and this little kid goes and investigates, discovers the Iron Giant, becomes friends with the Iron Giant. The military and government do not like the Iron Giant. They try to fight
Mm-hmm.
the Iron
Uh-huh.
Giant. The Iron Giant wins. Iron Giant saves people, saves the day. Evil military forces Iron Giant to explode. And I just spoiled like the whole plot, but this
You
movie's
sure did.
26 years old, so sorry for anyone that hasn't seen it. So this is an interesting movie as far as the creature. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
People have said of this movie, Brad Bird quoted, and I think other people is, what if there was a gun and the gun had feelings and the gun didn't want to hurt people? And that's
Yeah,
essentially the
that's
Iron
what it
Giant in a
is.
nutshell.
Yeah.
Um, you've seen it, right?
Oh, yes. It's
Yeah.
one I own. I hadn't seen it until like my 20s though. I got it for my 22nd birthday. This was when I was living back in Arizona. It was right before my mission. Um and I had always wanted to see it. I loved Brad Bird. Yeah, picked up the movie at Barnes and Noble, watched it with my brother. He and I both cried. Um and I just yeah, no, I've seen it, but I saw it. I did not see it as a kid, but it is a beloved film of mine. I adore The Iron Giant.
Great. Yeah, no, it's really just full of heart, full of just kind of a comfort movie, I think, for a lot of people, and just it is a good
Mhm.
just watch and be comforted by it. So really, and I think that's very intentional in the point almost. I was reading a little bit on it, and it said that Brad Bird at the time he was coping with the death of his sister, who was tragically murdered
Mm.
by her estranged husband, and that
Oh,
Brad
wow.
Bird did research into the Iron Giant. I don't remember if that's the exact name of what it's called, but this is a book.
Mm.
And the individual that wrote it, his name, Ted Hughes, his wife had actually died by suicide. And
Mm.
so just there's a lot of this movie that is sort of playing into some of those themes and playing into how you can kind of rebuild your memories of somebody into something that, the sadness and the grief are still there, but you can kind of move forward with it and move forward with this new creation of something of kind of some of those parts of what was there. So anyways, this movie's just full of a lot of heart. Obviously the Iron Giant as a creature featured in this. You're misunderstood, but
Mm-hmm.
extremely powerful and doesn't want to harm, but kind of forced into it at times. And that's my number 5. So I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, great pick. Like I said, different take. Mine are almost all monsters, but
Sure.
I mean, any excuse to talk about the Iron Giant,
Right.
10 out of 10.
Right.
I do. I love the Iron Giant. So this one, there are kind of two main monsters that feature.
Okay.
They are large to the characters. They probably would not be large to humans.
Interesting.
They're both also somewhat mechanical. I really don't think you're going to get this because this is kind of an obscure film. Also kind of mechanical in nature. One is sort of this cat, this almost like skeletal mechanical cat beast thing. The other is actually a monster called the seamstress, but it is almost, like this snake, very snake-esque, sort of cobra, very, very creepy. This is a very creepy movie. Also animated.
James and the Giant Peach?
No, but very similar vibes. Creepier.
Coraline?
No, again, you're in the same vein.
The Corpse Bride.
No. Tim Burton didn't direct or write this, but he produced it. It does kind of have his
Nightmare on
vibe.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
No. He wrote Nightmare Before Christmas.
But did not direct.
No, he did not. Henry Selick directed, who also directed Coraline. And James and the Giant Peach. It's a movie called 9?
Oh, I know this. I haven't seen it though. Yeah.
Yeah, it came out in 2009. Its director is Shane Acker, who I don't know if he's done much else. Also written by him. Tim Burton was one of the producers on it, and I would say it kind of has his vibe. But it started out as a short film. It was nominated for Best Animated Short, and then it was kind of stretched out to this full film. The reason I say, as a film, I think it's okay. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. It wants to kind of do this big twist / reveal at the end that just, I don't think works. There's not nearly as much there as you want it to be. But basically the story is about these little dolls. They look like sack people from the PlayStation Little Big Planet game. They're these little sack doll things. The stars are Elijah Wood is the lead. You have also Jennifer Connelly, Crispin Glover, Christopher Plummer, who is really fantastic. He plays kind of the grumpy, almost villain, kind of authoritarian leader guy. John C. Reilly plays a delightful character in it. I think it's decently fun. I think as a movie itself and as a story, it's okay. I don't think it has, the story is kind of a shambles. But I think the visuals, if you're just kind of going in for the vibes, I think it's a good time. Because I think I was really kind of into it until, the big thing at the end. And then I was like, well, that didn't explain everything, and that's kind of dumb. And this doesn't really make sense. So I feel like if you're watching it just for, the story or the reveal, you're probably going to be let down. But I think if you, again, go into it for the vibes, you're going to dig it. But there is this thing that shows up most of the time and kind of at the beginning that is kind of one of the main monsters is this cat beast that has this one glowing red eye, and it's kind of mechanical, but it's kind of rusty, and it looks like this skeletal decaying cat robot thing. That's really cool, and it's definitely creepy. But I think what's even better is the seamstress. And this is almost like a cobra type thing. And she almost puts people in her and then sews them up so that they are inside her. which is like, again, for a movie that I'm like, are we sure this is for children? Because this is terrifying. Yeah, like I said, I watched it a few years ago. I watch odd movies when I'm sick. Like when I'm sick, for some reason, sometimes I turn to comfort films, and sometimes I turn towards like, well, this is something I watched as a kid and it was really freaking weird, so let's try it again. And that's what happened with Nine. I just said, yeah, I remember thinking that this wasn't great, but I'm a different person now. Let's see if I like it. And again, it's still not great story-wise, but I think the seamstress design is like a piece of like genius. I think it's so good. It's super creepy. It's just this creepy monster, like this terrifying mechanical cobra thing. I don't even fully know how to describe it, but yeah, really cool. I would say, if it's definitely got the vibes for this time of year. And I would say if you want to just watch something that's kind of eerie and creepy and sci-fi, it's a good time. Just don't
Oh
really, I wouldn't say
gosh.
go, what? Are you
Sorry, I
looking it
just
up?
looked
It's
up a picture.
terrifying. It's
My
so
goodness.
good.
All right.
Like, don't watch
Go
this with
off.
Ollie, but if you
No.
want to just, no, no, it's not for children. I
Okay,
wouldn't say
cool.
watch this if you're under like age 10, because there are parts of it where I'm like, this is super creepy. This is
Yeah.
super
No, but
creepy.
I think you bring up some really good points, and it's why we love movies, right? Not every movie is going to be perfect plot-wise, and I think
Right.
even at times there's directors or writers that even know that, but they're like, hey, I have these cool things, these cool visual things I want to put out there to, ask some questions or have people think about. So I'm going to do that. You don't necessarily have to get to point D, ABC, and have it be clean cut and great every single time. We obviously want that at times, but yeah, I think that's a great point that it doesn't have to be perfect to be able to be a great movie.
Yeah, and I think it's been interesting kind of trying to find this balance because I grew up, my dad was a professional storyteller, and like my dad's whole shtick, like he loves story, and I do too. I grew up loving story. But I'm also in like a Discord group with a lot of people who look at movies from a very formalist perspective, where it's less about stories and character and more about visuals and act, like more of the technical stuff. Again, just more of a
Sure.
formalist perspective. And so I feel like I've been trying to find this balance where I'm like, I think story and character matter, which is why I can't give this like anything higher than like a 3.5, because I'm like, the story is just not really there, especially in the last third. The final act does not work. But I am willing to give it as high as a 3.5, whereas some other movies that I'm like, this story blows, I'm like, 2, this sucks, moving on. Because it's really cool. Like the world is this post-apocalyptic hellscape that's really well done. These monsters are really terrifying. The main characters are all really interesting because they're various, there's 9 of them. They're various forms of, they each have strengths and weaknesses. John C. Reilly plays 5, who is just kind of this more of a pacifist, whereas like Christopher Plummer's character is, I think he's either 1 or 2, where he's one of the older ones, and he's very much kind of like, look, I'm in charge, I know what I'm doing. And then Elijah Wood is 9. And so anyway, you have these very distinct characters that I think are also really well done. And overall, it's an interesting concept. But the end is a little bleak, and it doesn't come together. But I do think I think it's worth a watch. I think it's got, especially this time of year, like I said, I think it's got kind of the spooky vibes that you want.
Great. Fantastic.
Anyway, but you're number 4.
Yes. All right. So this creature, best way I can describe its face is General Grievous face, but
Okay.
more fleshy. um,
Fleshy General Grievous. Okay.
Alien is important.
Okay.
Um, like like long, limby kind of way, but also like crawls around. Somewhat similar to the Quiet Place creatures, I think. But
Okay.
yeah, kind of this long. muscular guy running around.
Is this part of a franchise?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought we were gonna line up with my number
And I
3.
don't actually know if you've seen this.
Okay, interesting. Not a franchise. General Grievous, but it crawls. Alien in nature. Did it come out in 2000 or later?
Came out after 2000.
Okay. Phew. Is this a horror film?
I wouldn't say so. It's got a PG-13 rating. There's obviously horror
Okay.
elements to it, but anyways, yeah.
I might be lost on this one. I don't even have like an idea. Are you willing to give me a director?
No. This
Shoot.
is the director. Yeah, the director will be obvious if you've seen it. This is a lot closer to the creature feature definition than most of my movies.
Yeah, especially because you said you're not sure if
Features a lot of kids.
a lot of
Kids are the main character.
It?
No, but vibes, yes, similar.
Similar vibes. Well, shoot. I don't know if I know.
Give you another hint. Stranger Things feels like a direct ripoff from this.
See, I almost said Stranger Things, and so now I'm wondering if I just straight haven't seen it, because the only thing I can think of is it. Anything else I think of like the 80s. So if
it's
it
a
came
funny
out
criticism.
2000,
It's a funny criticism because it's like, yes, this is Stranger Things feels like a blatant ripoff of this, but then you look at this and you're like, well, it's also, this is a ripoff of this, and this, so it's kind of this,
right?
But yes, so this is set. It's from the teens, 2000 teens, but it is set in the late 70s.
Again, the
give
only
you the director.
in mind is it.
J.J. Abrams.
Super 8?
Yes.
Haven't seen it.
Okay, Super 8 is directed by J.J. Abrams. Essentially follows a group of kids who are filming a movie.
Okay.
And so you get some really fun things with that of just the kids' dynamics, and the one that's like the director is just a phenomenal actor. He does so well in this movie. It's great. And they're filming a scene at a train station, and then there's this crazy big train crash. And after the train crash, people in the town start disappearing, military kind of starts showing up, and there's this mystery. And so I since you haven't seen it, I won't go too much further into that. But this movie is just really fun from the aspect of it's similar to some other movies that might come up later on my list. But
Okay.
Again, for most people are familiar with Stranger Things. If you've seen Stranger Things, it is basically Stranger Things season 1, right? There's disappearances in the town. There's some sort of monster running loose. These kids are at the center of it, and they're kind of solving the mystery while the cops or military are kind of in the background doing who's knows what. There's even a part where the military gets out these like flamethrowers and is torching. It's everything about it. If you go to the Letterboxd reviews for this movie, it is
Are they all over the place?
review.
Is it all over the place? The reviews?
No. They're pretty solid.
Oh,
but
okay.
All the reviews are like, this is just Stranger Things. But obviously, this came out a couple years in advance. So I have one brother who really likes this movie and is always talking about it in different ways, like describing Stranger Things or talking about this. And I'm always like you haven't seen it. This movie didn't really catch on, I would say, to the general public.
Yeah, like I remember it coming out. I definitely remember, because this was I think after, either right before or right after Abrams did Star Trek, which Star Trek made a name for him. So I remember it coming out, and I remember people talking about it a little bit, Since then, I haven't heard much, to be honest.
Yeah, so Star Trek in 2009 and Super 8 in 2011 and Cloverfield in 2008. So I think
Right.
Cloverfield, you kind of get a lot of the same similar ideas. Cloverfield was kind of in the running as I was creating my list. I even almost chose 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is kind of a twist
It's
on
a
the whole
good
thing.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun one. But I think in a lot of ways, if you've seen like The Fablemans, where the director clearly is directing and writing straight from the heart and straight from own experience, that
Mm,
you're watching
mm,
these kids kind of like filming and you're like, this has got to be a lot of J.J. Abrams kind of just talking about himself, isn't it? And so I
gotcha.
think you get a lot of that heart and a lot of that really good stuff going on.
Yeah.
And again, back to the kind of catching on, it's a really well put together movie. Obviously, J.J. Abrams is very well known. It is a little surprising it's not a little bit more popular than it is. There's one scene that really sticks out where, again, they're filming a movie and Elle Fanning is in this. Obviously, the Fanning
Yes.
sisters are pretty popular and great actresses. And she's kind of the girl. They had no idea they'd be able to get to be in their movie, and they're all surprised by it. So they're getting and they're doing this scene. They're like, all right, well, if you can kind of act, like this and try to be sad and try to, convey this or whatever. And she goes and she starts acting, and all the boys are like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. Like, this is incredible. And they're all like just so
Hmm.
taken aback. But I think, like, as a viewer, you're also sitting there thinking, yeah, she is really good. Like, this is
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So it's just really well put together. The mystery of it all is really good. Um, I think it does, maybe similar to yours, it does maybe lose a little bit of steam by the end, trying to wrap everything
Okay.
up. But it is still kind of a fun way that it does end and wrap things up. So I encourage you to check this one out, and anyone
Yeah,
else
I'm
that hasn't seen
interested. I'm
this.
curious for
Yeah.
sure. Gotcha. My next one, I'm gonna have a really hard time giving you clues.
Okay.
Very large, lots of teeth, scaly.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing. I'm like, how do I say dinosaurs without saying dinosaurs?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be brief with this one because if you haven't seen Jurassic Park, goodness gracious, go watch Jurassic Park. I do consider this a creature feature. This is actually one that a lot of people, I think it's because it's Spielberg and because it's dinosaurs and stuff and because it's PG-13, people are like, oh, it's an action movie. And I'm like, yeah, it is. I also kind of consider it a horror film. Like, it is
Oh
a
yeah.
creature feature. It's a monster movie. And you'll hear this rant at some point. We don't go into it now, but I do have people who are like, well, I like thriller and suspense, but I don't like horror. I'm like, thriller and suspense is a subgenre of horror. It's the same thing. Might be slight differences, but I kind of still consider them horror. So Jurassic Park, I mean, I think it is a great action thriller. I think with that, I think it's a horror film, directed by Steven Spielberg. Writer is Michael, I think Crichton is how you pronounce his name, who wrote the book. He also helped with the screenplay, and then David Cope. Stars Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, I wrote monsters, dinosaurs. And that's pretty much what it is. The reason I put this, because the others that I have in here are kind of like 9, where I'm just like, that's a really cool creature design. Whereas this, I'm like, they didn't design the dinosaurs in the classic sense of like they created something brand new. We already kind of knew what dinosaurs look like. The reason I put this in is because I do think, even from like, and granted there's a almost 20-year difference, but the difference between like the animatronics in Jaws and the animatronic mixed, like the puppetry mixed with CGI in Jurassic Park, is light years difference.
Yeah.
And I've seen in one of my classes at BYU, we were looking at the creation of like some of the behind the scenes stuff for Jurassic Park, and it was down to, they were looking at the puppetry and they were even designing almost like the folds in the neck. Like, okay,
Wow.
well, if it's scaly and reptilian and it moves, we need to create some sort of folds here so that it looks like, so that's how a dinosaur would actually look. So that's why I put it here, because I think just as a creature feature, it works. Like, you have a dinosaur is a great monster. You can't reason with a dinosaur. You can't talk to a dinosaur. It is this, and it's not, I don't even want to say it's a killing machine. It's just like, it needs to eat, and it eats people. And
Right.
that's it. And so that's really honestly what's cool about it is, I mean, that scene where the T-Rex is chasing the 4x4, I think an even better scene is when those velociraptors are like coming around like the counter area chasing the kids. Like, it's just, to me, this kind of captures, if you're not one for like horror films or you steer clear of rated R movies, I think Jurassic Park will give you that same sort of thrill, will give you that same idea of like, this is just monsters being monsters. They're not out to kill, but they're out to feed. And they feed on living flesh. And I just think that's really friggin' cool. Like, I think no other movie in the Jurassic franchise has equaled what Spielberg did in that first one. Like I said, I would hope that everyone listening has seen it. But if you
I'm
haven't,
sure.
like, I just think I think it's a top tier Spielberg. I think it's just it's a damn good film. And I think it's got a
Yeah.
great monster.
And I think you made some really good points about the practicality and sort of the visual effects that are on display. If you think about it, like, you kind of get to a point where how much better can you really get at showing something? And I think
Yeah.
Jurassic Park is basically there. It's like, yeah, I don't know that I would, even however many years later, I don't know that I would change much because it already looks really good. So
It holds up like shockingly well for a movie that was kind of one of the first to use CGI. And they did this great, like, and we talked about this before, like, I think CGI works best when it works with when it's kind of married to practical effects. And I think that's what Jurassic Park does. And it does it beautifully.
yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, I knew you were going to guess that one quick. Because again, I was like, how do I describe dinos without saying, well, it's a dinosaur. What's the most popular dinosaur movie?
Well,
But on to your
anyways,
number 3.
yes, speaking of probably getting it really quick, this is a little shriveled brown raisin guy.
I do know what this is because this is what we had talked about when we were talking about what creature features are going to be.
And
This
real
is
quick before you say it, this was the highest grossing film of all time. I don't think, not adjusting for inflation, until
right.
Jurassic Park beat it. So kind of cool.
Yes, Spielberg topping Spielberg.
Yep.
He also,
Yep.
I think, had it. He had it for Jaws, and then Lucas took it. And then it
Mm.
was given back for E.T.
Well, it's E.T., everybody.
Yeah, so that's
Kiri
the
knew that.
movie is E.T. E.T.
E.T.
Phone Home.
And so E.T. passed Star Wars and then Jurassic Park. So, they were
Mhm.
flip-flopping back and forth and, combining with Indiana Jones and stuff like that. Anyways, so E.T.'s another one. If you haven't seen E.T.,
Go see it.
touch grass, watch E.T. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
To be
don't need to
fair,
describe
I've
it.
seen this. I haven't seen it in decades, and every time I think about watching it, I'm like, man, I gotta get around to E.T. And then I'm just like, I think it would just hit too close to like the animal pet thing for me. And so every time I'm like, I want to watch E.T. And then I'm like, this movie will make me cry. Do I
Yeah,
want to cry tonight?
it's a classic in the Vaughn household that we had and we would watch, whenever. And Allie actually hadn't seen it, and so I showed it to her a few years ago. And I remember when I
Mm,
rewatched it, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is like one of the best films ever made. Like, this movie
yeah,
is amazing."
yeah.
And I still feel that way. I do believe it hits a rare 5-star for me. Um,
Mm.
it just eh, and for doesn't mean it's like my favorite film of all time. We already
Right.
did our
But
top
it's a
5
beloved
first
film for
episode.
you.
It's a beloved film for me, and I can recognize all the other things going for it that I'm like, yeah, this is incredible. This is doing so much. You'll also notice, and I did a disclaimer at the beginning talking about how a lot of these movies hit the same beats. My first three movies are all just kind of variations on the exact same plot, right? It's kids discovering something, the dynamics between authority and parents versus the kids and kind of moving around. So I guess I like
Yeah, I mean,
that. But
I can't speak to Super 8, but E.T. and Iron Giant, very similar.
no, yeah, a lot
With
of
the
people
kind of the
say that
authorities.
a lot
Go
of
ahead.
people, a lot of criticism for Super 8 is that it's just a E.T. and it ripoff.
Right.
So, yeah.
But no, I think it's great. There's also in one of my BYU production classes, we got to see the screen test, which you can find on YouTube. The screen test for Elliot,
Okay.
unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. It's the scene where he starts crying and it's when they're trying to take E.T. away and he's not willing to let that happen. And it's so funny because the screen test finishes and you hear Spielberg go, "Well, you got the job, kid." So
So,
yeah, it's great.
so anyways, E.T.'s great. I think it's a really good creature design. Like he's this little alien guy,
Agreed.
but
Yeah.
he's also like a little lovable and cute, but also still this weird little alien guy. So I love it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean he looks like a
that's
turd,
E.T.
but but you
Yeah, a
can't
little
help but love
raisin.
him.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff.
So my number 3, we are heading straight back into horror territory. This is an alien.
Okay.
I don't know why, but none of them are ever really furry. They always look like some sort of either reptilian or amphibian thing, and it's kind of following in that same vein. You do see it from birth to how it looks as an adult,
Okay.
all throughout the one film. So you see it as a little baby, and then it gets
Okay.
bigger and more terrifying.
Sure.
Um, it is. Do you have any guesses yet?
Yeah, but I'm gonna let you keep going.
Okay. If you already know it, then I'm okay giving away some of these other things. I mean, its blood is made of acid.
Okay, okay. This is my number 2.
Is it really?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
freaking sweet.
yes.
This is awesome. Cool. I was wondering if we were gonna have any overlap. So, this is 1979's Alien,
Yes, yes.
which is just so good. I
Yeah.
love this movie. So, I think it's a great monster. Like the whole idea of the movie is that it is a perfect specimen. Like it is the ultimate weapon. It is the ultimate killing machine. It starts off, even the design of the eggs are really cool. And then from the face hugger thing, even from, when it sprouts out of the chest, and I'm spoiling some of it, but also it's 1979's Alien. Goodness, and it's kind of having a resurgence right now in the franchise. So if you haven't seen it, I don't really feel bad spoiling Alien. It's Alien, for crying out loud.
Right.
But yeah, when the chest bursting scene is so freaking good, and then yeah, just when you see it throughout the movie, I just think it's great. And I mean, it's a great monster. Like I think it's a brilliant creature, and I do think it's unfortunate because it's such a good alien, it's such a good monster, it's such a good creature that I do unfortunately feel like we have that design has been ripped off in a lot of other creatures lately, where it's just sort of this teeth on teeth on teeth reptilian killing machine. And I would like to see some more creativity, some more designs, but it's also one of those things where it's people are ripping off the design because it's really good. It's really
Yeah.
good.
This is one of those ones that I didn't catch until actually last summer. I think I
Oh,
told you this story,
dang.
but I really messed up because I saw it, watched it, and then a week later I was looking at my movie theater and they were like, Alien
Oh, yeah,
50th
you did tell me
anniversary
this.
or 40th, whatever anniversary it was. And I was like, oh, you're kidding me. I
Yeah.
just missed that. But I think it's one of those movies. Same thing happened when Allie and I watched The Godfather a few years back. It's one of those
Mm.
movies that if you haven't seen and you're like an adult and you go and you watch this movie, you've seen it. Like
Oh
basically
yeah.
everything that you're watching, you see in tropes across sci-fi movies, TV shows. It's just one of those things that you're like, oh, this is really pulling a lot of these things together that I didn't realize were from Alien. Yeah, it's just one of those timeless classics that holds up really well. It's very atmospheric. Just again, as we talk about practical effects again, like just there's so many buttons in that spaceship that you're like, I would love to get in there and start pressing some of those buttons.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all these different things going on.
Yeah.
Uh, I've really fallen in love with the Alien franchise overall, even as one that I don't love gore or slashers or
Yeah.
things like that. I love Alien. I don't care. And sometimes I'll kind of cover my eyes a little bit. I was close to choosing Alien Covenant for this spot,
Oh,
which is
okay.
one of the later sequels that many think is not good. It maybe isn't that good, but I have a really good time with it. Uh, but
I've
as a
literally
franchise,
only
it's
seen this and the second. I've only seen Alien and Aliens. I haven't seen any of the others. Which
there's
we've
a
talked
lot
about.
of
It might be fun to
bad.
do an Alien or Alien Predator
Yeah,
episode
there
sometime, but
there's a lot of bad to the franchise, but it is just kind of fun, even when it's really bad. Ridley Scott, he's great directing this, and love Alien, like
yeah,
you.
like it's a slasher film in space. You don't know where it is. You are trying to become the predator, but you know you're the prey. I do think though one of the best scenes is when it runs into Jonesy, and I almost consider it like this begrudging respect, like, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to kill you. You leave me alone. We are both apex predators. We're just going to go our separate ways. I love
Yeah,
that
no, I
Jonesy
love that.
lives.
It's maybe one of the best taglines of any movie, period, ever, which
Yeah.
is in space, no one can hear you
No one can hear you
scream.
scream.
Amazing,
So
incredible.
good.
And then also, I don't know why, I've been paying attention to this more recently, but the title card of Alien is incredible.
So good.
So for anyone who doesn't know,
So
it's in
good.
space. It's just kind of showing space, and then it just like these lines start appearing, and it's just a bunch of lines in front of you, and then slowly it's like getting filled in with more, and then it spells out alien, which if you
Alien.
think about it, you can mostly do lines to spell alien, and so it just does
Yeah, there's
that
no
really, really
curves.
cool. Really
Yeah,
cool.
no,
Back to
it's
your
awesome.
facts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of the fact that I think is coolest, when this was originally written, no one was written with a gender. And the
Oh, yeah.
idea of that was that's why her name isn't Ellen Ripley, it's Ripley,
Okay.
because it was written with the intent of you can cast anyone in these roles. So that was the mentality kind of going into it with the script, is they didn't know if these characters were going to be male, female, whatever. So these were not preconceived like concepts. This was what they didn't know, that Ripley was going to be a woman. They didn't know it was going to be played by Sigourney Weaver until everyone auditioned and they cast them in roles, which I think is awesome, because then Alien and then Aliens, like Aliens is basically, I mean, I've had a friend say like it's a feminist masterpiece, because your leads are Ripley, Newt, and the alien mother.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that that's really, really cool, and it's really interesting. And when you watch it, you can kind of see that. And I don't know, I just think it's an interesting take. I think it's an interesting way to write a film, where you write it and you're just like, these are the characters. You're not gendering the characters. You're just letting anyone audition. And that's how it turns out. So I guess, should we go to my number 2 and then we'll trade off ones?
Let's do it. Give me some hints.
So this one, I would say there's one very distinct monster. I would say there's another monster-esque, and I would say there's one that you could make a case for, but I think it's definitely a creature, even if it's not a monster.
Okay.
So I will do the one that is, I guess, most iconic and most threatening monster-esque.
Okay.
It is humanoid. It is kind of this So it's humanoid and it's skin-like. Like it's not mechanic or reptilian. It's kind of this light yellow, pale, gaunt color. The movie in general has a lot of fantastical elements to it. Lots of fantasy folklore aspects. So there are a lot of creatures. So there are fairies. Do you know what it is?
I think so.
Well, go ahead. What's your guess?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. The original title is El Laberinto del Fauno, Pan's Labyrinth. Guillermo del Toro was bound to show up on my list. This is what he does. He loves monsters. You know, Shape of Water is his take on, like, what if Creature from the Black Lagoon, what if the woman loved him back? What if it was a love story? What if the monster got the girl? Is kind of the concept behind Shape of Water. Devil's Backbone is a ghost story. Kronos, his first film, is a vampire story. Like, he's doing, Frankenstein. I know that he wanted to do Godzilla and they said no, so he did Pacific Rim, was basically like, fine, I'll do my own Godzilla. So, yeah, he was bound to show up on my list. I love Guillermo del Toro. I really love a lot of his films. And I think I love his fascination with monsters and that he almost has this love for them. And not even in just like with Shape of Water, obviously he's like, this is fascinating, but he's almost like sympathetic to the monsters, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And so the monster that I'm talking about in Pan's Labyrinth, that's kind of the iconic one, is the Pale Man. If you look it up, he's terrifying. And at this part of the story, the main character, Ophelia, she has to get something. It's either a key or she has gotten the key and she needs to use the key to get something. It's been a hot minute since I've seen it. But the faun, who is kind of telling her, the faun tells her that she's, the daughter of the Emperor of the Moon, like she's a moon princess. And she has to do all these things. And this is one of the things that she has to get. So it's kind of, she's got, 3 quests. She meets a disgusting toad. That's kind of the other one that I said was more creature, less monster. As well as the faun. The design of the faun is, again, look that up. Brilliant. So well done. And it's all puppetry. Guillermo del Toro loves. So like the person who is in the faun costume is also the one in the Shape of Water costume.
No way.
Because this is what he does.
Very cool.
But yeah, lots of puppetry, puppets, makeup, suits, lots of practical effects, very little is CGI. But yeah, Ophelia has to go and she is told she's not allowed to eat the food. There's going to be a whole banquet of sweets and fruits and all delicious looking things. She cannot touch them. And unfortunately she does. She barely escapes with her life, but if I recall correctly, the faun basically is like, well, you've messed up. You're done now. And I don't want to get into it because I do feel like, while this is a beloved film and while I do think this film is far-reaching, I do know people who have not seen it, and so I don't want to spoil it. I will say I think it's a gorgeous film. I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, yeah, it's good. It's not great. It's not 95 on Metacritic great. And then I rewatched it a few years later, and I was like, I was wrong. This movie is a stone-cold masterpiece. Holy crap, it's amazing. And so I think especially if you have a fondness for either fantasy or folklore or mythology, you can see so many. It's very much a modern day fairy tale. You have these, she has 3 trials that she has to pass, but there's also themes of, the Spanish Revolution and various things going on with that. I think it's a very hopeful, very beautiful film. Just know, like, there is wartime. There are elements of not super grotesque elements, I don't think, but there is some violence and light gore to it, where it is revolution, and the lead villain is this captain who is trying to root out freedom fighters. So there, it is R-rated and it does carry some heavy stuff to it, but I think it's a really lovely fairy tale. I think it's a really lovely modern fairy tale. I think it has some really cool modern elements as well as some, some of the more fantastical elements. And I think the design of every single creature is just a home run.
Great. Really great.
You haven't seen it, you
Makes
said, right?
No, that really makes me want to watch it really badly. So I think I'll watch it soon 'cause sounds great.
Maybe we can do an arts v charts with it because
Oh, that would be
I
fun.
love I love this movie.
Yeah.
But you're number one. Give me the clues.
All right. It'll be an easy one for you, I'm sure. Lots of monsters.
Okay.
Just your typical definition of monsters, big spikes, big axe heads, big lightning powers, some can fly, smashing, eating people. Yeah,
Is this because I knew that this was something that was on your radar. Is this Pacific Rim?
absolutely. Yes. So,
Okay.
Guillermo del Toro, back to back.
Yep. He loves
Um,
his monsters.
he loves his monsters, and I'll tell you, this movie, when it first came out, I think a lot of people joked a lot about it. I remember there was some YouTube video that it was like, I think it's like Honest Trailers, which maybe they're still doing it today, but when I was,
Oh, I remember
14 or
Honest Trailers.
whatever. Yeah. When I was like 14 or whatever, and I remember this one, it said this is either the dumbest great movie ever made or the greatest dumb movie ever made. Um,
Okay.
and and I get why it says that, and that was kind of the general sentiment at the time. I remember, and this is one of those movies that I would go see with some friends. One in
Yeah.
particular at movie theater. That's just you know what you're there for, and it's giant monsters and giant robot people fighting them. And I think upon rewatching this last week for this, obviously for this podcast, I think it's really good. I think
Yeah.
that the plot is kind of silly, but at the same time, as long as you kind of just jump on for the ride, there's nothing like egregiously wrong with it. Like, sure, you could probably pick some plot holes in there pretty quickly, but if you're not too worried about that and you can catch the general plot of it and some of the uniqueness that provides you, and then you just watch these giant monsters coming out and going out and fighting it. There's this speech at the end by Idris Elba where he says, "Today we are canceling the apocalypse." And I don't know if there's any cooler line that has ever been uttered in just about any movie. It's just awesome. Like you're watching, you're just
I
like, if I do have a criticism, I do think that I think the last fight sequence isn't as good as many of the other ones. Because by that point, they're all fighting underwater. And I think what makes
mm,
a lot of the other fight scenes cool is that it's like this, really heightened Tokyo or Hong Kong or San Francisco and any of those types of things. And
right.
there's the one where they're fighting one of them, and the big mechanical guy's walking up to fight him, and he's dragging like this big naval ship to like hit him with the bat with it, which is funny. Again, and you talk about plot holes. It is a funny one because a little bit later in that battle, that apparently they had a sword, and so it's like, why did you feel like you needed to bring a battleship to smack this monster with when you could have just used a sword? But I don't care. It's cool. It's great.
Yeah, I've only seen it the once. I've been meaning to I'm debating doing almost like a Del Toro marathon watch through before I dive into Frankenstein.
Okay.
Because yeah, Pacific Rim is one of those weird ones where I feel like there are some people who it's kind of the reputation of being like, yeah, that's like Del Toro's weird, like that's his weakest film. It's kind of this weird big budget CGI monster fest. But I also have friends who are like, I like Pacific Rim. Say what you will about it. I think it's a great time. So I've watched it the once and I remember at the time I was just kind of like, okay, it's a monster movie and the kaiju and okay, whatever. I wasn't really interested in it. I would be interested I almost kind of want to watch it back to back with like a Godzilla.
I think it just looks really good. Like, as far
Oh,
as
okay.
visual and CGI, there's nothing you're watching that you're like, that doesn't look good. I think it all looks really good. But the writer, his name, Travis Beecham, who kind of came up with the idea, and then Del Toro helped kind of flesh things out and write at the end. But
Hmm.
he said he was just on the beach, and it was kind of a foggy, cloudy day, and he just looked out into the ocean, and he was like, "What if there were just this giant godlike things just fighting each other, this monster and things?" And then Del Toro, he also said that he didn't want people watching Godzilla for reference, like the people working on it
Oh,
with him from
interesting.
all the technical aspects. And he actually, I've talked about this before with Little Mermaid, they went back to like classical paintings and things of like showing a giant
Mm.
kind of overlooking the city and different things like that. And so I think he obviously has a big love for Godzilla and for these big monster movies, but I think that
Right.
this just pulls things together really, really nicely and just in a really fun way.
Hmm.
Again, it's one of those things that you're not here for the plot, you're here for giant monsters fighting giant robots and canceling the
Who doesn't love
apocalypse.
that?
So, who doesn't love that? It delivers on all fronts. It gives you what you want. And I think we can have this, sometimes things like that work and sometimes they don't. Like some
Right.
movies where you're like, you know what you're getting this type of action or you're getting that. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And this time it just really works. It's great. So
Sweet.
that's Pacific Rim.
So my number one, I actually have mentioned this movie in this podcast today. Um, it is an amphibious type creature.
Oh,
It
okay.
is one of the iconic monsters, one of the Universal monsters. Came out in 1954, black and white. I do think there are aspects of it that have not aged well.
Oh no.
And I'll talk about it a little bit, but I also think I think it's a blast. I think there's parts of it that are really gorgeous to watch. I think a lot of the costuming and technical aspects of it are really good. I think I kind of gave it away when I said amphibious creature. I didn't know how else to describe it, but I mean, do you know what this is?
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes. So the actual monster's name is the Gill Man. He shows up in things like Monster Squad and, like I said, heavily inspired Shape of Water. Directed by Jack Arnold. Really impressive film. The reason I say it hasn't aged well is because when you're watching it, it is very 1950s in the sense that these, explorers invade this indigenous creature's home, and then when the creature wants them to leave, the solution is to kill the creature.
Sure, sure, sure.
Which is, I'm like, well, again, you came into his lagoon, you came into his swamp, and then when he's mad that you're there, you seem to take great personal offense to that fact. So, but I think it's really good. It's really cool. There's two people who actually play the monster. There's Ben Chapman who plays it when it's walking around, but then I think this is how you pronounce it, Riku Browning. He is the swimmer. So he's a stunt swimmer. He did a lot of the water effects, and he was like kind of the stunt director and designer who did a lot of the underwater scenes in James Bond's Thunderball. But he plays the gill man when it's swimming, and just some really cool work being done there. I mean, there's one moment where the woman, because there's the token female. Oh, that's the other problem, is the gill man is in love with the token female character, which is also a massive problem. Another reason the gill man must die, according to the plot of the film. But she's swimming and he's kind of underneath her swimming, and it almost looks like they're like dancing, like because they're parallel to each other almost, but they're moving around each other in this 3D space, in this water, in this lagoon, and it's just really cool. I don't think the score is very good. It does a lot of the kind of And I'm just like, okay, if I have to hear this
Okay,
screeching
sure.
one more time, I'm going to punch something. So the score's not great, but just really cool work being done with the water. Again, this is an iconic monster at this point. It's one of the classic, in my beautiful essential set that I just bought. It's one of the movies there. It's iconic. The design of it is just spectacular. Like, especially when you consider that this is the 50s, just the costuming and makeup work around it. Again, not because it's the 50s, none of this is CGI. Just really, really cool overall effects. I think I gave this movie 4 stars. I think it's a good time. Especially this time of year, it's one of your classic iconic monsters right up there with Dracula and Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and yeah. So I like I said, I kind of at the beginning, Pan's Labyrinth is definitely my favorite of these, I think. Pan's Labyrinth and Alien, I think, are both superior films to Creature from the Black Lagoon. But I just think the monster creature design of that movie is just top tier.
Great. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I've watched The Shape of Water, which I love.
I
But I'll
love
have
The Shape of
I
Water.
this I'll have to watch it. Maybe that'll be one for this Halloween season. Yeah.
But yeah, those are top fives. I know we've kind of planned what the next, October is one that we've both been really looking forward to as far as spooky season. So go
Great.
from there, and we'll chat with you guys next time.
Yep, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.